Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Video Marketing Toolkit. I'm your host, Daniel Dennis, and this is the podcast where we speak to many different business owners from all different kind of industries and pick their brains for all of their business and marketing knowledge. Hopefully within the next 45 minutes you would have learned something new that you can take away and use in your own business. I know that I learn a lot from these chats, so there must be something that you will find valuable. As well as hosting the podcast, I'm a video first marketer. That means I create marketing strategies that is led by high quality and effective video for other business owners. And do you know what a really good way of getting video content quickly and efficiently is? Video podcasting. So if you're interested in your own video podcast, reach out to me on LinkedIn or my website and let's have a chat. In today's episode, I talked to marketing consultant Mark Harris. He's an expert in lead generation and is amazing when it comes to networking. And today we talk about networking events, how to manage with going to your first networking events, as well as some of the networking stories that we've got. Thanks for watching and I hope you enjoy. So Mark, thanks so much for joining me today. We finally got set up in the end, but would you like to introduce yourself for the people at home who don't know who you are?
Sure. So first off, thanks for having me here today.
No worries.
Privileged to be here. I'm Mark Harris. I'm a client flow strategist. My company is called Digital Consultancy Services. So I aim to get a steady stream of your ideal clients into your sales pipeline.
Brilliant. And that sounds amazing because I can imagine it's really vital that a lot of business owners nowadays want clients coming to them that, actually want their services. They're actually qualifying leads, aren't they?
That's it. And because my primary focus is lead generation and not just Facebook ads or Google ads, I do have that nurture and qualification sequence built in with my campaign. So by the time if you were my client, for example, by the time you even know that person existed, they already know about you, what you do, and they've got an idea of your price points.
And I think nurturing is so crucial nowadays, isn't it? There's that much competition out there, that many voices telling you what to do and, to buy now. That nurture process is really crucial for just, getting yourself out there, not just selling your services, but putting yourself out there and letting people know who you are.
It's all about making connections at the end of the day. If you're not building those relationships with people, they're not going to buy from you. Far too many people now are obsessed with sell, and it just doesn't go anywhere.
Nobody likes to be forced to be sold something, really, do they? It's too much. The way someone described it to me once is you wouldn't go up to someone in a bar and ask to marry them like from the get-go. You've got to, take them out to dinner, ask for their number, go on that process first.
Exactly that. Although there are lots of TV shows now that where they seem to be getting married at first sight. So it's a whole worldwide franchise now, I think.
Unless you look at reality TV, Married at First Sight, which totally flips that on its head. Maybe we could do a marketing version called Sold at First Sight or something like that.
That's an idea.
Or that could be that's a whole business entirely, actually. That's a good name. I like that one. So how long have you been in your business now for?
So we've been doing this now for 3 years.
And so what was it like when you first started your business?
Lonely. I think that's probably the biggest take from this. And whenever I speak to new people now, new startups or people thinking of startups, it's like, I know you've started your business because you feel that your boss is an idiot and you can do the job better.
Which I think a lot of people can relate to.
I think it's what most of us do it for. Certainly was the reason for me. And but you do miss having a boss. It's lonely being self-employed. And this is where connections like this, where you meet other business owners, you form relationships with them, not just because you want them to buy from you. It's nice to have somebody to talk to sometimes.
It is, definitely. Like, the thing I think I miss that most about an office as well is you get to speak to your team, your colleagues, you know what I mean? Everyone's there chatting. And when all of a sudden you do go to that dynamic of like, okay, I'm working in my office or I'm working from home, it's kind of like, oh, no one's actually here. So yeah, I'd agree. Like when I first started out as well, when I went to things like networking events, I always thought that I was like, right, I've got to sell myself now. Like this is it. I'm in the hunting ground. But it isn't like that, is it? Like
No.
You're there to make friends and just chat to people more than anything.
It's not always about whether somebody wants to buy your product there and then. at a networking event. It's building that relationship with that person because you don't know who they know. They may never buy anything from you. There's an amazing lady that I bought to Ashby Connect the other week, and I'm never going to buy her services from her, but it doesn't matter because it's who I know. And obviously, I introduce you together, and you'll have a conversation now around that off the back of that.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
and likewise, she's going to have a conversation with you about your services. So it's clever how these things have just happened to work together.
It does as well, because that's
All
it.
part of a master plan.
The connections and how it all works. But it's true though, because it's like the person you're talking to may not want to buy your services 100%, but they might know people that do want to buy your services. And it's just about building those relationships. Like, you're all there to do the same thing. You don't have to go into it looking like you're there to like hunt down your prey and like, you're looking for the next big deal kind of thing. Like, fair enough, it's good to be, on the ball with that kind of thing. But I think you'll find yourself getting pretty exhausted if you go into every single networking event like that.
Don't get me wrong, there are groups like that, and that is how their main focus is. And I personally shy away from those groups and will not mention any names today, but I think we all know who I'm talking about.
I get a little bit of an inkling of what we're talking about. But yeah, I like the ones that... on the topic of networking events, the ones where you sort of have to stand up and introduce yourself. Really, there's something in it that just sends me back to school. I really can't get behind it. Maybe because I'm just inexperienced with it, but I just it freaks me out.
So I think you've got very, very formal groups. No, I'm not going to mention names. Where, yes, you do a full elevator pitch, as it's referred to, and then it's all very formalised, it's very serious. That, personally, I think is a step too far. But then you kind of got the complete opposite of that, where there's no introduction, there's no elevator pitch. So with regard to Ashby Connect that we both go to, it's very relaxed there. There's it's just kind of jump in the conversation and say hello. That's very much how it works. And there's another group that I go to, which is very similar to that. But I kind of like the middle ground. So you'll perhaps have a quick intro where everybody's got like 20 seconds, 30 seconds or so to introduce themselves. And then you kind of just go
the
away and
mingling
mingle.
comes after.
Yeah.
Which I guess is a good idea, because that cuts down the time of who do I actually want to speak to. On the get-go, you can be like, okay, I know who that person is, and now I know who I want to approach afterwards, So.
And there was a group I used to be part of, and we used to mix that up a little bit. So as a lot of us got to know each other in the group, we'd always have guests coming in and things like that, but there was like a core group of people that came.
Yeah.
We'd mix it up and we'd do each other's elevator pitches.
Oh, okay.
So, like, I would go there and I would do yours and you would do mine, for example. And that, again, helps build that relationship and helps you understand whether you're actually explaining yourself in a very good way. Because a lot of the time, we know what we do, but our customers don't understand what we do properly.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's the trick as well, mastering getting that across to people.
Because sometimes when you're going, someone says like, "Oh, what do you do?" It's kind of like, "Oh, what don't I do?" It's like in your head as a business owner, there's so much going through it. Sometimes it can be hard to ground yourself and just rethink like, what is the simplest way to just say what I'm actually doing here? Like, I would definitely get this, understand that.
I mean, if we were accountants, for example, it'd be really easy, wouldn't
Yeah.
it? What do you do? Oh, I'm an accountant. Conversation over, that's it. I try and avoid the word marketing or marketing agency when I'm talking about myself, because, again, it kind of kills the conversation a little bit, because there are so many of us out there in the marketing space, and everybody just instantly makes that assumption. Oh, marketing, yeah, I know what you do, I don't care. And they move on.
And then that's it.
Whereas, actually, I'm not a traditional marketing agency. I actually do a lot more than what most agencies do.
Definitely. Like it is hard to. I find myself sometimes having that same similar issue with video as well. People see the camera and they go, "Oh, it's Dan, the videographer." It's like, well, yes, but you're missing the whole other stuff that goes on in the background as
Yeah.
well, which is obviously the marketing side of things. So it is like, how do you best get across like what you do, and your little strap line, and your 20-second elevator pitch, just homing it down into what is the best way of doing it. But of course, probably apart from first introductions, the best way to get people to understand what you do is the nurturing process, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And it's slowly and gradually introducing your services into an email sequence, a text message sequence, a face-to-face conversation, because, we do still like to talk to people in the real world from time to time. And yeah, it's making sure that you're just gently touching it out there and you're not screaming, buy me, buy me, buy me, because that is where so many people go wrong.
Yeah, and it puts a lot of people off as well, doesn't it, really?
How many of us, hand on heart, we get a phone call and they're like, "Oh, I'm calling from so and so. I'm here to sell you so and so." You're just like, beep, and that's the polite way. I mean, I'm horrible to these people most of the time, and I say a lot worse than that to them usually. But we do because we don't like it.
Yeah.
So why the hell do we do it to our prospects?
Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, I got a phone call the other day from quite a big hosting company, website hosting company, and the guy was like, "Oh, like, we've got this offer, it runs out today." I was like, "Oh, can you send me some email information?" "Oh, well, we don't send over emails, only to the people that buy from us." I'm like, "All right then." I was like, "I'm not really interested because I don't even know if I'm going with that name." And then it was like, "Oh, but you could really do it. You save yourself." I was like, "Yeah, but I'll go with you guys when I'm ready." Like, "Oh, but this is," and I was literally like, "Mate, you're putting me off now." I was like, "I'm actively not going to buy off you because you're pissing me off, basically."
And it's exactly that, isn't it? I had a quote off somebody quite recently for something, and they emailed me the quotation. I was like, "Yeah, great." But exactly the same time, they text me and then rang me. I'm like, "Jeez, like,
Chill
calm
out.
down." And like within a short space of time, he's like, "So what do you think? What do you think? Is it a go? Is it go?" I'm like, "Whoa, just simmer
Easy,
down."
tiger.
Like, no, go away, leave me alone. And it puts you off when, don't get me wrong, it's one extreme to the other with a lot of people. Some people follow up way too much, some people not enough. And he's trying to find that middle ground. But this guy definitely followed up way too much, way too quickly. And he lost the sale in the end. And that was part of the reason why.
So you mentioned when you first started out that you was in quite a lonely space with being a new business, sort of in the community. But now you've built yourself up. I think that you are quite a well-known person in the local community. So what are you doing now into your business? What position is your business in currently?
So, yeah, I mean, it's helped massively because it's helped give me the confidence to actually approach people to try and build the relationships for ultimately for those to convert. And, I've now got a nice steady stream of inquiries coming in. I work with some really nice clients. I'm not overworked to the extent where my clients feel that they're not getting the right engagement from me and the right level of service from me. And I'm not got too few clients that, I'm on my ass broke kind of thing.
Yeah.
So nice middle
A
ground at the
nice middle
moment.
ground, which is sort of a good place to be in, because then you're not too stressed out with loads of responsibility, and you can sort of begin to pivot in your head what you want to do for your next move without being too like, I'm trying to stay afloat or I don't know what to do. Like, it gives you a good position, doesn't it?
And it's always been my dream dream's probably not quite the right word. It's always been my goal within my business to only work with a smaller number of people at a time so I can deliver that level of service, because I've worked for big corporations before. I know what it's like to just be a number, as they say.
Yeah.
And I don't ever want my clients to feel like that. And I think that if you spoke to my clients, I think most of them, no, not most of them, all of them would say that I give them a good level of attention, and they never feel left out.
And that's it. And that's all very much like how I like to operate as well, especially in like when you speak about like marketing agencies and how they sort of have a little bit of a bad stigma around them at the moment. It's because I feel a lot of them don't have that personal touch. Whereas when we offer our services, because we're in a much more tight knit community of the people who we offer our services to, we can have that personal approach with people. We can be very hands on, and you can call us pretty much whatever time of the day that you want, if it's that big of an emergency.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are just a lot. I feel like we're there for our clients a lot more than you would be for a bigger corporation, because you do become a bit of a number, and slowly that number becomes more and more diluted amongst other clients and customers, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and I'm going to go on to a bit of a rant now about marketing agencies, but you know, they do very much have a burn and churn kind of mentality. They keep the prices reasonably low, or competitive, should we say. And what they do is they tie people into 6 and 9 month contracts at £500-600 a month. And they just send ads out all the time to bring new ones in. After the contract, they've not really done a lot, but they're like, well, no, we're not that bothered, because we've had 6, 9, 12 months worth of
We're currently onboarding
£500-600,
Yeah,
and there's plenty of people to replace you, so we don't care.
we're literally onboarding about 32 more now. So
Yeah,
it's
so-
kind
and-
of.
I've been there. I've used them back in the very, very early days. Not this business now, something else I was doing many years ago. I spent an absolute fortune with marketing agencies, and that's kind of what inspired me to build my own company.
You were like, that's where the money is.
doing it differently, because
Yeah.
so many marketing agencies just get it wrong, and they lie to you. They do lie to you, but they don't deliver a good service, and they don't care. And it's all just a numbers game with them. And I was like, maybe it's time that we did it differently, and we actually did what we say we're going to do, and actually provide the service that people are paying us for a change.
Rather than just being a lot of hot air, which is what it normally is. It's normally a fancy sales pitch with some fancy graphs and a fancy deck, with not a lot to back it up. And that's my personal experience from marketing agencies as well. Really, like the people in it normally, they're working very hard, but normally they're stretched very thin. And ultimately, that falls back down onto the client, who is paying good, hard cash for these services, and they just don't get the individuality that they need, really.
That's it. And I was paying one agency once nearly £1,000 a month, plus ad spend, obviously. And the first graphic they produced, I mean, I'm showing my age a little bit here, but it looked like a 5-year-old had done it on Microsoft Clip Art. And I kid you not, it was that bad. And I was like, what have you done?
What's this?
What? Like, really? That's the best you can do?
That's where your £500 went.
No, more than that. It was nearly £1,000 I was paying them.
That's crazy. And you just think, I could do a better job myself, probably.
And that's exactly what happened. And that's kind of where the company came from. I eventually binned that agency off, and I was like, it can't be that hard. Because I got a bit of a knowledge, and I've done marketing inside now in some form for the majority of my life. And I was like, I'm going to have a go at this. And don't get me wrong, I winged a hell of a lot of it, but I'd worked with them for nearly 6 months, and they'd not got me a single sale. Not a single sale. I ran my ad, and within 2 hours I got my first sale.
That just shows there's a disconnect there, doesn't there? Like something's not.
It went on and got a few more sales and everything else as well. And I got, I think it was 5 sales in the first week. I then turned it off and thought, oh, what have I done here? And kind of started learning about it more and more. And that's where I went off and joined a few programs and got a few training courses and things behind me, just so kind of reinforce what I already knew.
You got that credibility behind it. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Like, it's good that you've got that own progression in your own skills to sort of see like, hang on, something's not quite right here, and then doing something about it and just running with the idea. Like, that's brilliant. Moving on a little bit more to what you sort of the services that you provide and some real advice that I think people out there could really benefit from. What is a CRM?
So CRM stands for a Customer Relationship Manager. And it's basically a software tool that just helps you organize all the data. So every time you get a new lead coming in, when you're dealing with a customer, it's just kind of one place where it holds that information. Different CRMs will do different things, but ultimately, it's a data storage for helping you organize, keeping on top of your leads, your prospects, and your clients.
And I think having a CRM is really important if you're handling a lot of leads, just because you can keep track of it. It's like it begins to like integrate with other platforms as well. You can really manage each customer individually, can't you?
You can, and it does. You don't need to spend an absolute fortune. There's some big platforms out there like Salesforce and Keep, which a lot of people will have heard of in some form. Salesforce is £12,000 a year. You've got to be doing some big revenue to be able to afford
Definitely. That's like basically a part-time wage right there, isn't it?
And I've played with it. I've tried it. It's really not that great. Not for how much it is, but hey ho. But there are a lot of free platforms out there or low-cost platforms, which for most business owners will do now, for now. Even as simple as a Google Workspace, not Excel sheet because it's not called Excel.
Google Sheets.
Google Sheet, thank you. Within your free version of Google Workspace, even that is better than nothing.
It's definitely a lot better than sort of having that bowl full of business cards that sit on your office desk.
Yes.
Where it's just sitting there rather than actually hold any sort of like relevance.
No,
like having that sort of centralized place to put all of your contacts, just so you can make use of them all appropriately. From having that centralized database, you can start sending emails out to them, providing that they've consented to the marketing, of course. You can start targeting them with ads. You can start sending out text messages. It just gives you far more flexibility of being able to target these people with your different channels, isn't it?
And a lot of the times as well it's trackability as well. So a lot of people see marketing as a bit of a dead thing, like they can't see the return on it.
It's a bit of a stab in the dark sometimes.
Yeah, and they have perhaps either a bit of a scattergun approach to marketing, and they just like send loads of things out without any real thought or logic to it, and they don't really know what's generated a sale and what hasn't. The beauty of most CRMs, they will give you the ability to actually track what's happening. So the tool I use, for example, there's a lot of tracking and accountability in there, and literally everything they do within the platform, I can see exactly what time they clicked which button and all sorts because of the depth of the analytics within that. And that is the information you need to know, because based on the action they've taken from an email, for example, you need to know what to do next. Did they open that email? Yes or no? Okay, so yes, so send this message. No, send this message. That kind of thing.
Brilliant. And what that data as well from a CRM that allows us, it allows us to see that customer journey almost, what buttons they're clicking. From a video perspective and a video production point of view, we can then start to tailor what videos those individuals see as well. So for example, if we see that a customer has started to share more interest about a certain subject or a certain service, we can then home our video content to what they actually want, rather than it just being really general and it might not be that specific to them.
Absolutely, because that is how your nurture sequence works. You've got to keep your eye on what they're doing and how they're responding to the messages that you're sending out.
So an integral part about the CRM is obviously like the data and emails. How does email marketing sort of come into it all?
So a lot of us will use email marketing as a quick and easy response to an action that somebody's taken. So probably the simplest example I could give of this would be, you've got your website, you've got your contact us form on your website, and through automation within your CRM, the moment that form is filled in, you can send a follow-up message saying, oh, great, thank you, thanks for taking the time to fill out our form, acknowledge what they've put in the form maybe if you really fancy with it, and reach back to them and say, that's great, one of the sales guys will be in touch with you within X kind of thing. And you can then follow up with other messages from that as well. So one thing I like to do is run competitions. So one of my clients is within the wedding industry, and whenever he's at a wedding fair and things like that, he'll run a competition, and he runs a competition as a way of getting the visitors to engage with him. It's about getting people's information as well, where you perhaps wouldn't normally get a chance to get that couple's details. But because you're running that competition, he runs free catering. Chance to win £1,000 worth of catering. He does, and people are like, "Oh wow, I could get £1,000 worth of my catering."
Yeah,
that's great. And so you're getting people filling that in, and because it's his catering and they know it's his catering, you know that they're only going to be entering the competition if they're interested in potentially having his catering.
Anyway,
so he's now got their details already loaded into the CRM, so he doesn't have to fill it in himself manually from a form that somebody's written out by hand or anything like that.
Which would be an absolute nightmare. Well, that's probably the last thing you want to do, isn't it? After being at an exhibition all day, you've got a fat stack of forms that you've got to fill into your computer.
Yeah, exactly. And nobody wants it more. So get your prospects to fill the form in for you. Get them to enter themselves into your CRM. And it's a lot quicker and easier for them to do that than how many times have we been at an exhibition or a wedding fair or anything like that, and we've got a bit of a queue building up with people waiting to speak to us. Eventually they get fed up and walk away. But by having this poster with a big QR code, like what Thomas does, people are at least doing that bit. And, they're entering his competition to win £1,000 off his catering. It's all great. It's all really, really good. And it's a good way of capturing that information that you've perhaps missed.
And a lot of the time now as well on phones, people have like autofill, so it just fills out the form straight away, so they're not having to sit there and write it and things like that. And it just makes things so much easier, because as business owners as well, most of the time, we don't have a lot of expendable time to sit there typing up results and things like that.
We kind of mix that sequence in. So with that particular example, this wedding competition that we ran, obviously when they fill in the form, straight away they get a message saying, great, thank you, and Tom wrote a lot of it himself, and because Thomas was trained in Italy on how to make his pizzas, he does try and mix in a lot of key phrases in Italian, so like hello, goodbye, thank you, and things like that. I'm not going to say them because I can't pronounce them.
Things like that.
But yeah, you get the idea.
Yeah.
So even his messaging, he's got that in it, but he mixes in text messaging as well. So it's just those gentle touch points, and he's leading up to it all. He's talking about weddings and giving advice on weddings. So how to pick a good wedding caterer, how to pick a good DJ, what are the important things to look for in a wedding venue. So that's his nurture sequence.
And so that's all happening then after people have then signed up for the competition. Yeah. That's sort of the flow afterwards, isn't it?
Yeah, and all this is going on behind the scenes. They're getting a steady stream of information and messages, giving them tips and advice. Tom's never spoken to them before.
Yeah.
But he's already building that relationship up with them without actually having to pick up the phone to them. So,
and it's that, they're hearing his tone of voice in the language, like you say, using those like Italian words and things like that. I think, I'm respecting, Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's Tom. He does pizzas, doesn't he?
That's right, yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's where the Italian side will come into it. Just
Well,
so it's his tone of voice and just amplified through his email flow, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
So in an email marketing flow sequence as well, although you're getting across, the tone of voice and the personality, I guess a lot of it comes into the value of the content as well. Like you mentioned about like how to build a wedding cake, or maybe not how to build a wedding cake, but the best, what makes a good wedding cake or things like that. It's adding more value to customers, isn't it?
And that's what a good nurture sequence does. It brings value and credibility into it, and it enables your prospects to see you as somebody who is knowledgeable, who understands what they're doing, who is going to provide an excellent service for them, in whether they're giving them pizzas for their wedding, or they're doing videos for. Do you actually do weddings?
I've done a few weddings. Back in the day, I did a lot more weddings, but I kind of just prefer B2B now. So I have done it in the past, but just don't contact me for your wedding. The pressure is too much pressure, I think. I get scared that I'm going to mess it up because there's only one wedding day. Like most of the times with businesses, the business will be doing loads of stuff, but there's only ever one wedding day. Like, that's it.
And I would imagine that, yeah, for people like yourself and photographers and DJs and things like that, like if you forget a vital piece of equipment,
Yeah.
like something's gone wrong and you thought your batteries were on charge and you get on site on the day, you're 2 hours drive away from home and the batteries haven't charged.
Not ideal.
That's all on you. So yeah, I
As a
get
result
that.
of that, you've got a bride that's in tears, a very angry groom, and the mother of the bride isn't too pleased either because she's paid for you. And it's like, yeah, it's just a lot of pressure with that kind of thing. I'd much rather stick with businesses, I think. As much as I love weddings, and I've done some beautiful weddings, and in my previous wedding clients have all been like really great. Because you do get treated like a bit of a family member as well. They're like, you get to eat with the family, and it is all fun. But it is a lot of pressure as well. So, as we mentioned as well about flows, they really help the business owner, keep on top of things, communicate with their audience without having to actively get involved themselves, so they can be off doing other things. How do you see AI improving these flows even further?
I mean, we've had similar conversations before. You know that I'm a big ambassador for AI, and I think um, most of us need to be, because it isn't going anywhere, and if you don't embrace it, you are going to get left behind. Um, I use a lot of AI within my business, and we can get AI now to do simple things. So technically, your automation within the CRM system is a type of AI. You tell it what to do, but I build AI chatbots for websites and things like that. So you've got that where you could potentially have an AI system where it's acting like a receptionist almost on your website 24/7.
Hmm.
So it's not fully knowledgeable on all aspects of the business, but it knows enough to answer where's your location, what are your operating hours, what type of products you sell.
Hmm.
Things like that. It's so easy and simple to do. And it's there on your website, and it's there engaging with people. And then it can send out an inquiry form so it captures their data and their information. We've got AI now for images. So when you're creating social media posts and things like that, you can use tools like Midjourney, and there's a lot of apps on your mobile phone now that do it as well,
Yeah.
like non-branded stuff as such, and generate imagery for your social media. There's a platform now called Runway as well, which is for video content, and it produces some amazing stuff. Not trying
I've
to
got to
scare
watch
you
out.
there.
Trying to scare me now.
um,
But no, sort of on that basis as well, I think because AI, there is a bit of a fear that AI is coming for people's jobs and stuff, but it is about embracing it, isn't it? It's about using it rather than being scared of it.
it is, and don't get me wrong. I know there is a lot of fear about AI taking people's jobs, but yes, there will be certain jobs where people will be replaced by AI, but ultimately, it's a human being that's got to program that AI. So yes, there will be some lower level jobs that might be not necessarily replaced, but maybe
I think
AI
they'll
will
just
be
be
brought in
changed.
to help them do their job and support them in doing their job and make it easier for them. Um, but it's also going to create a hell of a lot of jobs as well, because AI is only as good as the person is that's telling it what to do.
Definitely.
And because I've embraced it so much, I've got quite confident in how to prompt AI to get it to do what I want. And I'm not doing anything that nobody else could do with the right set of skills and
It's just a sort of another
experience.
skill, isn't it? It's another
Yeah.
skill to learn how to figure out these prompts, how to use AI, what are the appropriate AI for those situations. And yeah, it's just something that we're all going to have to dabble a little bit into or pay an expert to do it in, basically, isn't it, really?
Just so happens we've got an AI expert sat opposite.
What a lucky
Plug.
what a lucky place for me to be in. If you are a regular listener to the podcast, it took me about 6 times to do this bit, then you'd know that I do a quick fire question round. And we've already done a few episodes now, so I'm thinking I'm going to mix up the questions for the next set. So you are my first victim of the new set of quick fire questions.
You sure you can say that right? Do you want to do it?
No, I've got it right. I'm happy with that one. If you want to see all 7 takes of that, subscribe to my Patreon. No, I don't have a Patreon. But anyway, quick fire questions. What is your death row meal?
What is my what? Sorry?
Your death row meal. So
My death row
you've been
meal.
sent down for some horrendous
Ooh,
crime,
I don't know.
some white collar crime, and your death row meal. What's your last thing that you're gonna eat?
Do you know what? I think it'd have to be KFC.
KFC.
Like, as daft as it sounds, because like, I know most people are like steak and stuff like that. But I
Yeah.
don't actually eat steak. Can't stand it.
That's fair enough. Because KFC, I think in that moment as well, where you're about to die, you want a bit of a home comfort. Do you know what I mean?
It's got to be a fresh one though. You
Yeah,
know, like
a good
sometimes
KFC.
you get it wrong and it's been held a little bit too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think mine would have to be Domino's if it was going down that route, because it's just like, I just love the Domino's, man. Like, I think we was on about pizza the other day, weren't we? Me, you and Joanne were talking about pizza for far too long, but I finally got my Domino's in the end. And it was amazing. What is your KFC order actually?
I'm pretty plain and simple on that, to be honest. It's a normal chicken fillet burger with a Pepsi Cherry Max and a popcorn chicken on the side.
You're not about a Zinger Tower box meal then, anything like that?
To be honest with you, towers are just very disappointing because all it is a hash brown.
Yeah, that literally. Yeah, the idea of calling it a tower and just putting hash brown in it.
Okay, so you put a 5p hash brown on it and you're charging me an extra 6p.
Yeah.
And you've put cheese on the chicken. And I'm sorry, I'm going to be controversial here.
Don't say what I think you're about to say.
Cheese does not belong on chicken.
No, you're so wrong. I love cheese on chicken. So, you must have had a chicken royale from Burger King.
Yeah, but I take the cheese off.
You're crazy. That's the best thing.
No.
Chicken royale with cheese and bacon and a bit of lettuce. Chicken cheese combo. Are you disappointed with them? Can't get over that. Next question. What is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
So I think for this one, kind of 2 ways it's been presented to me. Same piece of advice, but given it 2 different ways, but 2 different occasions. First time it was presented to me was, you're only as good as your follow-up. I prefer the second version. Don't fuck up the follow-up.
I think that's a very much more direct approach.
And because this is where so many of us go wrong. I don't know, we've got an amazing ad driving traffic to our website or whatever, and we don't respond. We don't pick up the phone. We don't reply to their emails. Trades industry is a perfect example. I've been doing a lot of research into this recently for a service I've been looking into creating. Your average tradesperson, so this is your emergency response plumber, electrician, whatever, miss 50% of their phone calls a day.
That's crazy. Because they're out grafting. They're out doing the work, aren't
Because
they?
they're busy doing the job, yeah. Don't
Yeah.
you know? If you're a plumber or a builder, please don't come
Mark's
and hunt me
calling you
down.
lazy.
You know, it's not about that. They are absolutely right. They are busy,
Yeah.
but they've fucked up the follow up because they've not answered the phone.
That's more work that
They've
they're
not
missing out
replied
on.
to the email. How often do we do a contact us form on a website and never get a reply? I did one 2 months ago for a conference centre, for an exhibition
Didn't
that
hear
I
anything.
want to put on, and I'm still waiting for the reply now.
Yeah, it's sort of touching on that as well. What you mentioned about receiving that reply when you fill out a contact form. Sometimes you just want to reply, even if you know it's from a computer, just to be like, "Oh, it's actually worked, and it has gone through."
And
I'm not.
I did spell my email address right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that could have. Sometimes you click it and he says, "Thanks for your submission," and then you don't get anything. It's like, well, has it worked? Has it actually gone through?
Exactly. The best bit of advice I'd ever been given, and once I'd heard that and they explained why, I was like, actually, yeah, that makes sense. And everybody does that. We are traditionally, and I'm generalizing here, but we are so bad at following up with people.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I can a little bit of that as I can understand as well, just because you get caught up with the client work, and then it's like you really want to follow up, but then it's like it's in the back of your mind that you meant to do it, and it's just, and then it's also like how you don't want to come across as too needy sometimes, and it is a little bit of a minefield, and I think it just depends person to person as well.
Yeah.
But as long as you don't fuck it up, as you say, that's the main thing. So, what is your? I'm missing one out there. What's one thing that you're learning right now?
Okay, so I do like a lot to. I say read business books. I don't read anything. I've got Audible. That's what it was invented
Just listen
for.
to them.
Yeah, and I love. I follow an author called Mike McCallowitz, and got about 8 books out now. I've read the majority of them. Sorry, listened to the majority of them, and I just read them over and over again, and just the context of them. So I may as well plug in. Anybody watching this channel now, listen to Mike McCallowitz, The Pumpkin Plan, because it is a great starting book if you're new to business, if you're wanting to learn about how to run a business and how to get customers and things like that. It's one of the greatest books I've ever read.
You need to give it
And
a go.
he's fantastic on Audible as well because he narrates himself.
Yeah.
And he's very much like me, to be honest with you. He's quite childish and he still likes his dick and fart jokes and all that kind of thing. So he talks in real language. You know, he's not all stuffy and formal and things like that. So, but even though I've learnt it, I still keep going over it and again just to kind of reinforce it. A lot of AI stuff as well that I'm always watching and learning about as well, just to kind of keep me, because that's moving so quickly at the
Yeah.
moment.
You got to
Like
stay on top of that before.
I'm on it every day, and I'm still like, oh right, okay, so ChatGPT's changed again. Okay, cool, that's fine.
Because even the platforms with AI, they do change fast, don't they?
Yeah.
Like, I think it was a while because I use Gemini a lot, just because I'm involved in the Google space a lot, so it's easier for me
Somebody
just
has
to
to
click
be.
on it. Some of us have to be. Whereas, like, I haven't used ChatGPT in a while, but then I'll finally go on it again, and I'll be like, "Oh wow, like this is actually all completely different."
Even if you used it every day, it's still like that every few weeks.
Yeah, it's just like, whoa, it's changed again. And even like Photoshop, tools get updated all the time. I think my DaVinci has been telling me to update for the past few months now, and I keep going clicking skip this one, skip this one, just because I need to get in and do something rather than update it. So what is one thing that you're really proud of?
Keeping going. So I'm not sure if I've actually told you this story or not, but anyone pre-warning this might get a bit emotional. anybody that knows me will know that a little over 2 years ago I had a stroke,
Wow.
and it proper put me on my arse. Thankfully now I've mostly recovered, but I remember lying there in that hospital bed that first night, and I could barely speak. And one of my dreams, one of my goals has always been to be guest speaker, presenter, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I want to go with my business eventually. And I remember lying there in the hospital and I was like, that's it, I'm done. Like, I need to be able to talk to people.
Yeah, you thought your dream was sort of over there. In
Like,
that
how am I
instant.
supposed to continue? And I kind of rode through that. And don't get me wrong, it was tough. And like, I had quite a bit of time off work. The business suffered for it. Like, believe me not, like, literally, as just before the stroke, I was lining people up to come on board as clients, and there was
Yeah.
60 grand's worth of business,
It's a lot of money.
and I lost it all because obviously I disappeared for several months.
But your health obviously does take
Exactly.
priority over
And,
money.
and yes, when I've reached out to these people afterwards, they were like, oh my God, yeah, completely understand, don't worry about it. Unfortunately, because you've gone cold on us, we've gone elsewhere.
Yeah.
But, no hard feelings kind of thing.
And it must be definitely annoying when you're trying to grow a business, because often as business owners, you do put the business before your own health as well, don't you?
Do the maths, like the business was 6 months old at this point.
Yeah.
And for me to take nearly a year out was big. So it did hit the business hard. I'm still building the business up. So I'm not where I would have liked to have been at this stage, not as far along, but I'm still here. I'm still going.
And you've come a long way from that hospital bed as well.
Yes.
Like, that's definitely something to be proud of. Like, well done. Like, crazy achievement, because it was such a big thing to happen in your life, and to be able to bounce back and just run with it as much as you have. Like, obviously, like, I've seen you at the networking events, something like that. The people that you know and the way you interact with them, like, it's really positive, and sort of span that around. Like, that's brilliant. That's so good. So what is one thing that most people don't know about you?
Don't know really.
That you don't like cheese on chicken.
Well, no, I'm quite open about that, to be fair.
Disgraceful.
It's probably that I'm an introvert at heart, because when people realise that for the first time, they're quite shocked, because they've probably met me at a business networking event, for example, and I do jump into conversations and things like that. And
Yeah.
when they hear that in my personal life I'm actually quite shy and withdrawn, they're like, really? Like, we could never shut you up.
But I think that's it. It's like, I've been very much an introvert as well, and like, networking events are quite new for me. So it is. I still have to almost, suck it up and just go for it sometimes. And I still find myself like being awkward, not wanting to jump in and stuff. But I guess it is like a skill. But you like, probably like you've done as well. You've honed in that method. You've done it over and over again, and you've perfected it almost.
I got invited to a networking event early days, and it was, I'd planned on going, and the original plan was the person that invited me, we were going to go together. Then it changed to, oh, something's come up, we're going to meet you there. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And it was held at the golf club. And because it's held at a golf club, there's perhaps a certain level of people that are going to be there and things like that. And I remember driving through the car park and everything, and there was just Rolls Royces, Ferraris, Aston Martins, all like this. And I parked up with all the intentions of going, and I just completely choked, bottled it. And I was like, I can't deal with this. Like, no, I don't. Do not want to speak to the people that drive those cars.
Yeah, you feel like you're not.
Way out of my league. And I did. I got back in the car, turned around and left. And that still haunts me today, to be honest with you, because there are a couple of people that I'm still quite close with that know that story, and they're like, look at you now.
Yeah, you wouldn't do that now. No, and like the way it's almost like the way you work the room at a networking event. You are like, oh, you need to meet this person. How you doing? Like shaking hands and stuff. Like it is great, and it's something as a new business owner that I definitely look up to. How I want to sort of present myself later down the line as well, because it is such a good way to see a friendly face like yours when you're at a networking event. It's just like, there's Mark. I know it's going to be an all right day because I can speak to Mark, sort of thing. So no, you come along. I didn't know. Obviously I've only known you for a couple of months now. Actually probably coming on like half a year, but yeah. But I wouldn't have guessed that at all about yourself beforehand. Like, so you've come a long way.
And I think when I meet a new person, particularly at a networking event, and they're talking to me about what they do, and I'm probably doing this the wrong way around and probably need to stop doing it, but I'm always thinking, right, who do I know that I can put in touch with this person?
Yeah.
So like I did with you at Ashby and Aaron the other week, like I'd already got that in mind anyway. I'd already settled that up in my mind, even though I hadn't told either of you about each other, but I knew I was going to be making that connection. That conversation
needs to happen.
Yeah.
You're the connector almost, aren't you? That's going to be your new title, the connector. You're just putting person with person, which is great. It's a really good skill to have because you're seeing those skills and, the needs of individuals and instantly knowing how to help them out with something, which, it's a really good skill to have. I think that brings us to the end of our quickfire questions. Thank you so much for coming on today, Mark. I've had a great laugh.
Thank you so much for having me.
No worries at all. All of Mark's information are in the description below, so go and check him out. We always take this conversation online, so follow us on LinkedIn and make sure that any questions that you're asking away. Do you have any final messages, Mark, that you want to give out to the audience before we sign off today?
Probably final message is pester Daniel for the outtakes video because there are so many outtakes from this.
Repeating myself over and again.
Daniel getting tongue-tied a hell of a lot is well worth a watch. I've really enjoyed being here today just because of how much I've got to laugh at him. So definitely pester him for it.
That's why I get people here. It's just to laugh at me. That's it, really. Cheers, guys. Thank you so much. And thanks for watching. And I look forward to seeing you again and speaking to you online. See you later. Have a good one.